All right, everybody. We are getting it on one more time. Another Tuesday has arrived, and this is actually something that just hit me while we were watching the countdown. And as we wait for Snow, hopefully she'll be joining us momentarily. Sometimes she can be rather busy with the crazy weather down there and the crazy responsibility she has. But it hit me that we've been doing this for over a year. Does it feel like a year, Black Knight? Because it's been over a year.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It does feel like a.
Yeah, like it kind of just flew by for me, and I realized we probably should have done like a 1 year celebration, but maybe we'll save it for later when Snow shows up because she's the more
Mm,
celebratory
yep.
type. But that is an interesting fact that hit me. I was like 50, 50. I think we are like 59 weeks. I'm like, wait a minute, there's more, there's not even that much in a year. And it's like, oh, we've been at this for a while. So yeah, people, and to be viewers, we have been at this for a year, and this is the official recognition stream because we did not recognize it when it was actually a year. So yeah, there you go. The official year recognition stream. Some weeks after the year we've been at it. Black Knight, how do you feel, and what's up? What's new since the last time we seen you?
Well, I'm good. I was finally able to complete the reformatting and editing
Okay.
project for my fifth book of the main Star Shattered series and uploaded it today. Um, and I've been dealing with all sorts of uh, Amazon shenanigans, like increased printing costs for certain kinds of stuff and shipping costs and this and that and additional distribution costs and amanya cost and bloody da cost. And
Wow. Wow.
so
Wow.
yeah, well, it's I gather that like most of us who've been dealing with that aspect of being a self-published author, they
Yeah.
know, they are aware of this, and that's perhaps the more like boring part, like the behind the scenes part. It's not that glamorous as like, yes, I've created that character because I've researched this, I've read these old books, and I watched this, and I spent like many days polishing that character, or like had this incredible idea for a scene, for a, let's say, conversation, of a piece of dialogue, or something, or a descriptive scene. It's not that, like, this is the behind the scenes, like the boring part, but it's still important. It's quite important. Have to
Yeah.
know what to do.
It's probably one of the most important aspects because if you can't keep track of how much it's going to cost you in fees and how much you're going to get less per month when this is your main source of income, like that, the lack of management there can cost you dearly.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've I had to, like, of course, I always check my messages and stuff and emails, so I knew that like they were implementing new stuff. Um, and the first thing I noticed, they notified me, uh, was the addition of the AI generated audiobooks, which, I mean, it's automatic. It's like full automation. Um, and they have, but of course they have like a list of requirements that you have to fit, to be sure that you're fitting. For example, one of these is that in your text you have to make sure that it's like uniform language text. For example, if you have like a character who is speaking in a different language, you can't use that. Like it will be, it's not gonna work.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So,
that's just one of the things on the
so there's a
list.
lot of small little things in between you
Mhm.
got to take into
Yeah,
account while writing something
pretty
out
much.
for publication.
And the expanded distribution network that they have made adjustments.
Is Amazon?
Yeah, yeah. They've made adjustments. So in my case, I cannot use some of the different marketplaces anymore, even though I never use
Really?
them. Yes. Um, of late, I could use only the UK and US network for extended distribution, and they have
Okay.
lowered the royalties for that.
Okay. Very interesting. Now they don't necessarily tell you why exactly the royalties were lowered.
I mean, they have specific like messages which they're being posted
Uh-huh.
on the forum, the self-publishing author forum,
Okay.
but in most cases this is like they give you standard corporate later that's like, yes, because of inflation or because of this kind of
Okay.
and that stuff.
So not
And
a
because
direct answer though. It's
yeah,
not like,
yeah,
hey,
and it's like
it's because of
because
these.
we're experiencing this global shift in blah blah blah, and you're like, not again.
Gotcha. So this happened before though.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay. So do you gotta often take this into account? Like for your for the future basically? Your savings, your spendings? Like
Yes.
how
I
often does this happen?
well, lately it's been happening more. Um it's been happening often.
Like once a month or something?
Uh Once a few months,
A few months, okay.
or maybe if I'm not like, maybe if I'm mistaken, but I think the last time was, well, like they're initiating like more minor changes and um shifting things around and adding stuff or removing older stuff which like people didn't use that much. Maybe in some cases 6 months, maybe 7 8 months, but the last like major change was past year. I think it was like before the summer of 2024 when
Okay.
they changed their the paperback printing costs. Most notably, it was in Britain, in Great Britain. It was like a significant change
Yeah, because
in
most of
their.
your sales are foreign, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. That's I have sales in Japan sometimes.
Okay.
Um
Where do you sell the
and
most?
well, definitely I sell the most in the US, on the
All right.
US market. And
Big in the US.
then it's Canada and the UK. They are like on the second place, and then you have Germany, France, Italy, Poland. Um, I think Japan
Okay.
is like fifth or sixth
So
place.
like
Well, it varies.
if you were to end up in the US and say do a do a signing at a Barnes and Noble, how much people, based off the numbers you have, do you think would show up?
First of all, they would probably kill me in Barnes and Noble. I'll probably get shot.
Well, let's a fantasy friendly store that'll
Well,
hold
yeah.
like
If we are like talking, it's like a hypothetical that I don't get killed and I actually get to the US and I'm not killed on like sometimes after I arrive, and I get someone and I get to this fantasy bookstore of your like imagining. Um, well, probably maybe a dozen.
okay.
Where exactly would you say
I don't know. Like, where are your readers in the U.S.
is that
from?
like I don't know, maybe mostly on the West Coast?
Okay, the West
West
Coast.
Coast and like mid US. A lot of them in Florida, some in Texas, some in New York.
Okay, that's more the
It
East Coast.
doesn't like yeah, but I have like lots of readers in
Okay,
California
interesting.
too.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we got Lily Fields joining us. We also
Ooh.
got Sammy joining us, and more officer Grat said what's up way earlier. Gracias, everybody, for joining us today. Just poking at the Black Knight. He is our concurrent full-time author for anybody who didn't specifically know. He's not like us schlubs over here who write on the side. He is the real deal of author.
Dude, I've been very audio. I've been like writing on the side for 15 years.
Yeah, I mean that's what most
So
people don't expect.
I'm in the same club.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
still,
like
it's
that.
like you're doing it for a living, and I kind of know that feeling because I'm a video editor slash graphic designer, and for a while that was something I did on the side for about 10 years before I was
Yeah.
able to do it just full time. So there is a freedom to being able to do that job, which is yours, which you manage, which you dedicate the allotted time to. Um, there's a freedom to that, and there's the journey in that is fascinating. And I personally don't ever really expect to live off my writing, as I do kind of like my career, and it's something that I do as a passion outlet. But for yourself, as someone who does live off of it, what was it like? What was that journey like? And did you start off expecting to become a full-time author?
Uh no. I actually began because I've lost all my jobs. Um and
How did
I
that
s-
happen? Let's
I
start there.
assumed I mean
Yeah.
I was shortly after Trump was elected for the first time. Um, that was like the usual crash here in the EU economy. Even though we weren't in the EU zone crashed back then again
Okay.
for the nth time. And a lot of businesses who they were working with various countries from the EU, they went bankrupt like overnight. And of course there were some companies which they've been like mooching off of various EU economics like subsidies. They've been doing like various grifts and stealing the money. So they also a lot of them they also went under and they had to close their offices. And overnight I lost one of my jobs, and the next month I lost the two other jobs. And my like original official job was was like working in retail, like a huge retail chain, which went under because they've been like it's been resold, was resold a couple of times, and with each reselling, they stole more money, they took more loans, they laundered some of the money, and in the past last days they didn't pay uh, the salaries, but so when everything went under, I was like, okay, so until I find another couple of jobs, um I will publish, I will self-publish all the stuff that I've been writing for the past like 15 years. And
Okay, so you were writing before publishing. Like, was your writing
yes,
secret? Like, did you keep these to yourself, or what's up? And also,
no,
tell me what's behind these multiple jobs, because down here, I start to wig out after a 4-hour shift in one job. Is that normal
mm,
down there? Have like 3 or 4
no,
jobs?
it was not normal. I was paying off loans. That's what I'm going to say. It's like important loans, not just loans for um,
Okay.
yeah, loans for important stuff like medical bills and refurbishments and such. So it was I needed, my family needed them, and I needed them too. So without going into personal details. So
Of course, yeah.
that was why I got 3 jobs, because one was not enough. Otherwise, I would have been paying them for like 20 years or something. I paid them in 7, no, 8, I think.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. So you had these loans to pay off. You're losing work, and then you just got these writings. Tell us about the writings. When did you start writing, and then get to when you started releasing them? Because this is interesting.
Well, in the beginning, it wasn't like I was just scribbling stuff. I was just like having all the ideas about stories and characters and stuff, and I would write them down on a notebook. But when the notebook was not enough, I began like copying them to text files, saving them on a flash drive. And in the beginning, I would use these ideas and characters to run various tabletops, which was how I was actually like relaxing with some friends, um, primarily D&D and also other tabletops, but mostly D&D. And perhaps this was why a lot of these characters and ideas and world building, especially for the Star Shattered universe, they are so developed, because they've been through a few hundred people, players, and in this case, so like for the first 5 years, I've been like just keeping all of these notes and all of these story drafts to myself and close family and friends. But after that, like was I decided to use them as a setting for my D&D campaigns, and yeah, that's how they have expanded. And in the last like 2 years, before everything, like before I lost my jobs, I was Also, that was those were the last months which I actually attempted to physically publish them here. So I went from one trad pub to another, and I slowly realized that it was folly. It was pointless without any specific political connections or like quote unquote business connections. I would never get published. Of course, if I was producing what they wanted, that's another deal altogether. But I didn't. And even back then, if you did not have the the specific things they had list, uh, things that they wanted. If you didn't have it, um, you like the chances of getting published was like slim to none. So yeah, that's basically. Well, yes, I hate publishing grifters too, but that's the reality of things. And even though that people claim that the age of woke censorship in the West is growing, this is like it's ending. Well, I'm not 100% sure that it's going to go away that fast. Here, it's still working. Like we have specific publishers who no longer publish anything which does not fit the special agenda of the like certain corporations who give them extra money for that. So if you don't have specific characters and specific story themes and tropes, and that's you're not gonna get published. Of course, if you have a crap ton of money and you pay to get printed for your books to get printed, well, yeah, they wouldn't care. They'll print the box, but everything else is gonna be left to you. Like you won't find an agent to promote you. Regular media will not promote you. They will not run your ads, even if you want to pay them. Or if they did, they will demand more money. Yeah, that's the reality of things. Of course, if you have connections, it's entirely different.
Yeah, there's always those people with the connections. Um, so it sounds like there was definitely a lot of adversity in the publishing sphere. But did you think like, what were your thoughts towards the indie sphere at that point? Like, was it alien to you, or were you already exploring it? Like, tell us about that.
I was exploring it, just like skimming the surface, and even on the surface of it, with all the hardship and stuff, and the extra work that you have as an indie, you have to do a lot of stuff yourself. Um, it was much better than the restrictive mainstream trad pop. At least here you could actually publish, um, though you needed to somehow have a lot of money to pay, or that was at least in the beginning that they were telling me. You needed a lot of money to pay a professional editor, to pay a reformator, to pay cover artist, and this and that, and also pay for ads on Amazon or Facebook. But like the initial information that I got was like confusing. And I in the beginning I made a lot of mistakes, but thankfully that mistakes were correctable. They could be fixed. So yeah, the more I actually did the things myself, and looked for different options within the self-publishing scene, the easier it got. And I found people to teach me. I found people to help me edit. I found a reformator who taught me how to format, and I invested some of my considerably limited finances to pay some people to teach me how to do stuff, because it's one thing is to pay them and continue paying them to do the same stuff, and another to pay them to teach me how to do the stuff and then do it alone. So
Yeah,
was
that's one thing I've always been fascinated by, is sort of the tutor economy, if you will. The amount of people out there that are willing to sort of trade their skills for some cash. And was that something that was common over there as well, in your native land?
no.
No? How's it work over
No,
there?
basically no one, like, it's quite hard to find actually people who would teach you. I mean, you can easily find people who will um, teach you very slowly, very little and very slowly. You can, like, yes, you can find these people, no problem. They will ask
Interesting.
a lot of, like, money. They will ask for a lot of
Okay.
money, and they will teach you very little, and it will take a long time.
Okay, so people are kind of protective of their trades over there.
Yeah,
Okay, I can see
that's
why. So
if they taught every single one, every single, let's say, if the editors taught every single author how to do their job, or they'll
yeah,
be out of the job.
I suppose so. It's much more limited there.
I'm not saying I'm a professional editor. I most definitely am not. And English is not even my second language. So yeah, in my case, the learning curve was more like a learning mountain. But I I had time, and I knew I could achieve some of the, like, initial steps myself, and have some semblance of an income before I could find another job, which eventually I discovered that I can't, because my knees and my back were ruined.
You
And
worked yourself pretty good young, huh?
yeah, it's like most of the stuff which was available for the money that I needed, for the pay that I needed. It's let me tell you, it's not the cushy
You,
office job.
you lifting heavy stuff.
Yep. pretty
Okay,
much.
yeah, long hours, work until the late night, sort of stuff.
Well, in most places they give you like a 9 hour shift, 8 hour shift.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that.
But some places you can work like for 12 over
Oof,
12 hours.
oof.
But the thing is that they pay more.
Yeah.
They pay more, but you are working yourself into the hospital basically.
Now, when you realized that you had knee problems, was there a particular moment that flashed through your mind? You said, "Oh, that's why."
I didn't have to like have a moment flash through my mind because it was just like a matter of time. I was hit by cars, by
Really?
two cars. Yes.
So, okay,
And so basically, I knew that eventually I would have problems. I was just like uh, hoping that it's not gonna it's like it's going to happen, but it will happen like down the line, many years in the future.
okay. Sorry, my mic was unplugged there for a second, but I heard everything you said. That sounds freaking crazy, but you're able to land on writing. How long did that take you from going through this journey of learning how to self-produce to seeing a stable income? Like, what are you looking at there?
Well, 2.5 years.
Okay, dude, that's not too bad. 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
All
The
right.
problem was that um, I I entered the scene during a time where certain movements were picking up speed, um, and they would promote anyone who overtly and not so. They would promote anyone who told their party line, but as you know that the things that we you specifically and myself we write, they are not uh, they are normal stuff, entertaining stuff, interesting stuff. They do not fall into the category that they like. So they would
Uh-huh.
not be they would not be benefiting by their push. It's not to say that you would be censored per se,
Okay.
but sometimes some authors they have um, like they have had issues, I would say, issues with the search not showing their books,
Okay.
which would be um, shadow banning, shadow censorship.
That
And
that
they
is a
would
term used.
yes, and that would work. That would be in effect for specific countries and in specific hours, and then it would work again. It will be it's just that um, yeah,
Now, did you receive any pushback
pushback.
from any of the more, say, political types in your local area because of your literature
Um,
or its
in my
success?
local area, they do not know.
Okay, that's a little
They
hush
have
hush.
no idea, and I aim to
Gotcha.
keep it this way because if they know, I may have problems.
Okay, so it is sort of like,
That was one of
very
my huge
inflamed.
mistakes. I mean, that was one of my huge mistakes was just
Yeah.
naively and hopefully trying to go The thread put pub away. That exposed me, exposed my work, and that was a huge mistake. I shouldn't have done it.
All right. So that's one of the issues that you face that's sort of chronic.
Yeah. Otherwise, most of the issues that I have, as most other indie self-published authors, are all sorts of lags and bugs in the system, which make publishing problematic, like printing issues, which stem from like the unified automation on, let's say, on Amazon. But these are like, it's like white troubles, little troubles. It's nothing to like the annoyances. Let's say, um, when you get like cancelled, and when they remove all of your books from publishing, well, that's a major issue. Or let's say if you're a little bit more well known author, and you're barred from, let's say, the Western book shows, because in many cases you make a lot of sales on these shows, these book shows.
Oh, you say a Western book show. What is that
Yes.
specifically?
Well, you know,
Like in
where,
English?
yeah, you have a lot of authors, and they can pay for a table
All
in
right.
specific convention center, and they can like sign books and sell them directly to the readers. That's what
You
I
know
mean.
what? Would be interesting is if you started a one of those aliases and started writing all this new pro party series, and it seems like it's all pro party for like 9 books up until the last book when it's all unveiled, and they just go crashing down in flames
You
like a
know,
gigantic laugh.
it's it's funny that you mention it, because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had I had a I had a plan to do exactly that.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I had a plan. I had this like pre-draft of a shorter series, um, but eventually I decided that I rather not do it. That's like the investment in work, like years of work, and everything, that would have been like too much for me. But I thought of this. It would have been crazy. Yeah, would have been
You'd have to be in
quite
another
crazy.
country when you release that last book.
Yeah, yeah. Have to be somewhere far, far away, and not have money in the bank, because they might like
Freeze your
block.
accounts and stuff.
Yeah, freeze your account. Well,
Crazy.
they've been
So
known
it's
to
like,
do it.
now, how does this affect all media around you? Like when you turn on the TV, is it all like party based stuff?
Uh, well, no. Mostly they have this um quote unquote non-existent corpo propaganda, and web propaganda too, and whenever you see like a new piece of media, you and you know what you're looking for, you will immediately see it. Like even in the day-to-day so-called reporting of the journals, you will see it, how they push specific messaging, which they have been like they are being paid to. And then you have well, but you can see that in the US too, in the West too. It's like even strongly, like even more, you can see it. Yeah, you have to have specific characters, you have to have specific tropes. um that's what they are paying them
Now,
to
what are
do.
the tropes over there? Like, what tropes that you see on television that kind of give it away?
Well, uh the usually the male figure is an idiot, is incompetent, bubbling buffoon, or is like always the abuser, always the rapist, etc., etc. um and the like the gaze is always genius, is always super capable. um it's like the usual thing. They've been promoting it here too, but they have to use like different they have to tweak the things a bit, because people here usually are not like susceptible to this, because of communism, because of the 50 years of communism that we had. And especially older, like the older people, the older generation, when they see anything like this, are like, yeah, it's like just like back in under communism. It's just like they've changed the words. They're doing the same thing. Of course, you have also a lot of pro globalist propaganda, and pro EU propaganda, um, which they're not even hiding it. They're not even hiding it these days. They don't care.
Yeah, that's something that we're all dealing with, for sure. Though it seems, at least in my location, nowhere near as volatile. But I'm sure if you were to head towards some of the major cities, not all major cities, to be honest, um, but there's particular ones like Seattle or Portland. They'll probably get on your case for publishing some more less overtly woke stuff, if you will. It's an
Uh,
unfortunate thing, but it's
you
not
call it
everywhere.
woke. You call it woke.
Yeah, woke
We call it communism.
communism. Yeah,
It's the
um,
same.
yeah. We got some places like that, but luckily, not too much, and I don't think it's that volatile a thing. But that's what kind of created this backlash that's now morphed into this web of creators that we got going on here. It's been pretty good, I think. I think the last year, this being our recognition stream, when we realized that it's been over a year, has been fun. We've had a lot of great conversations and gotten to really just see the short the short the slow metamorphosis of professionalism finally reach us as creators. But
The slow transmogrification of
there you go.
indies into
I got on
um,
authors,
not so lame indies.
right? Right.
Like
I am seeing
go power indie rangers.
yes, because I remember at the beginning of the Iron Age, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of like a ton of different stories coming out, but a lot of them had major issues, including my own, in which made them look obviously unprofessional
Yeah,
and
but
just amateur. But
that's the idea.
Yeah, but I've
That's
seen that get ironed
that's the
out
idea. Yeah.
over the time this has been going on.
The
You're getting more and more polished products now. You're
Yes,
getting
but if you don't start, you will never you'll never get better. You can't
yeah,
like you can't be stuck in like the forever editing, the forever polishing. This is insanity. If you do that,
like,
you will never grow. You'll always remain the same.
hey, Snow, there you
Hi,
are.
babe. Hi. Okay, I'm so
Ooh.
sorry. We had a fire with a fire truck wreck at the same time. And I can't say anymore, but I'm waiting to hear back about our two firefighters. We think they're okay, but they're at the hospital. They're not my firefighters, but they're the district right next to us, and we know everybody out here. So all the firefighters are like family to us. So we're waiting to hear back on that. But I wanted to poke my head in to say I love you and you and you. I love you in chat. I love all of you. I love you listening. And we're talking about Iron Age. I heard that will apart. Is that right?
Yes, we're talking about
Yes.
sort of like how Iron Age started. There was
Yeah.
a lot of sort of, I guess for lack of a better term, sloppy writing coming out at the time, and how it's been over, I think, close to like 3 years since then, and the
Yeah.
writers who remain, a lot of them, most of them, have really sharpened up and improved greatly since then. And I think we're going to soon see, or are seeing, a second wave, which is much smaller, but it's of greater quality. That's what I'm seeing.
And this is in defense of this. When we look at what's being published right now, what's being put out on Netflix, what's being put out in the movies, it's no better than what you've seen in the Iron Age. A lot of what you're seeing out there that's actually being
It's considerably
word for word is
worse.
garbage. So if we put them side by side and we say yes, it's probably more obvious when we look at the indie scene because nobody's shilling for us going, oh, it's meant to be that way. They're really being rebels when they write that way. They'll be just somebody going, no, you don't know what you're doing. And then we're like, yeah, I guess not. Whereas if you have a publishing house do it, they go, well, this is really how literature works. And it's supposed to be confusing to you. And they've decided to write everything in lowercase with misspellings because that makes it radical. So we don't have somebody lying for us. So that's the reason it shows up more. But in reality, especially in these last few days, when we see people literally copying and pasting from the AI directly onto the page, when we see the fact that they left the prompts in and they're just
Oh
letting
yeah,
everybody else
that's
write.
terrible.
So I cannot say that we're any worse than published works, traditionally published works. I think we're just more likely to be called out on it because we don't have a network of smoke
Well,
screeners
it's not
to help
only
us
that,
find it.
A network of astroturfers. No,
Yeah, that's
we
right.
don't
but,
have
That's
that.
a
but not
perfect
only
network. It's
that, but
crazy.
I would say that there's going to be much more indie publishing stuff, kind of like getting out there faster and more frequent than professional, is they want to keep the gate closed on enough writers where they can only have their handful
Yeah.
of famous writers to pull from. So you're not going to see as much works, but say it's like almost like a per capita thing. If just as much writings have major issues, they have way less of an excuse than somebody who's writing out of their basement and doing their best
Yeah,
on the
pretty
side while
much.
working. When
Not to
it's
Well, that's it.
not
Well,
to
also,
mention
they,
not to
yeah, go ahead.
mention that
Go ahead.
they have not some of them they have not just one professional editor, they have two, three. They have multiple uh, like special readers and sensitivity readers and this and that reader and this bullshit and that crap, and they keep producing ideologically driven bullshit, boring, lame bullshit. Even with all of their resources, even like with all of the expensive tools and then help under their disposal. It's like that old saying that's garbage in, garbage out.
Definitely. You were gonna say something, Snow?
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm selling my. I agree with you 100%. The other thing is that you have somebody can literally. There are some of these writers who haven't written their own work in years. I'm not going to say names because we all know that there are a lot of them who are using ghostwriters, and they do not write their own things anymore. If they'll write a line and they'll say, okay, here's an idea for a story, and somebody else has written it for them. Somebody else is going in and editing it 9 times. That doesn't mean they're better writers. It just means that publishing house has decided they're going to invest that much money to basically ghostwrite something for someone else. A version of AI. Now, there's times when ghostwriting is important. It's necessary, especially when you have a person who is not a writer who wants to tell a story, especially with history and memoirs and things that describe events that were important in the past. But when we have our own works out there, when we say, I'm writing this book, my name's on it, and I wrote it, I ought to write the book.
Yeah, and the other thing is that your mistakes are your mistakes, and you have to face the consequences of your mistakes, and you, not somebody else, you learn from these mistakes, and
Yeah.
consequently you grow from these mistakes.
True.
But
There's
all of these people, they don't like I have the feeling that they're like mortified but like by it's like, oh no, I will somehow make a mistake. And then what's the problem?
yeah. And it's like it seems like as we go along and this publishing economy continues to churn, it seems like there's less and less authenticity in the works that are being produced, and they're more so just like almost just factory conveyed and made and put together like some sort of weird Frankenstein thing that gets an official approval. And like you said,
Yeah,
Snow, people are blatantly misusing the tool of AI to such a disgusting degree that they're trying to pump out full stories without editing them, without checking them appropriately. And it's just getting sloppier and sloppier. And I predict if this continues, what you're going to see is you're going to see Trad Pub take a nosedive because the one thing it has is not only the marketing. I say two things: is marketing and its quality assurance, which it should provide everything it produces. But
quality.
exactly, like their works are getting, if their works are getting this sloppy, this boring, and just completely written by a computer, I can't see them really being like the number one service that just dominates books for much
it's
longer.
it's like on one hand you have the like the Tradput soulless corpu schlock, which has like this, like you said, James, like the seal of approval, and like Snow mentions like the availability and the aid of all of the tools, and yet they are like consistent in their sloppiness, and in churning out these disgusting lame ass schlock. And on the other hand, you have perhaps not as like perfectly polished material. Not that some of us can actually like have um, friends who are good editors and great artists, and they can have these like um, excellent covers and great editing. Yes, there are some of the indies, but what separates the indie sphere from the trad pop crap is that originality and soul. And you can like, yes, you can distance yourself from as you read, you can distance from an occasional typo here and there, and like some error, because the actual core of everything, characters, story,
Yeah.
plot, world building, it has a spirit, it has a soul. You can feel that, you can sense, the reader can sense that the author has poured his or her everything in this book or comic book or game, whatnot. This is like people can feel this.
Indeed. I was hunting down a piece of media I wanted to show off. I'll find it right now. But very much so, and it actually reminds me of what somebody once said when they had a original copy. I think this was Lord Otter who told me that the very first Harry Potter had like 11 typos on one page.
More.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one page, on a
Okay.
single
Yeah.
page. But like you're saying, the story can really just make up for all of that. But it takes heart, it takes effort. You got to put yourself out there, and it coming from a human being definitely helps to a wide
You have
degree.
to
Yeah,
you
but
have
you
to
also got
embrace
to
your mistakes.
you have to
Embrace your
embrace your
mistakes.
learn
Yeah.
from them, keep
Love
on going, and most importantly, I think, is the learning aspect. Become better
Well,
every time you
yeah.
write. Read
If
what
you
you wrote
embrace your
before.
mistakes, it's like it's inevitable for you to become better. If you're like
Yeah,
hiding behind like Snow said, like if you're hiding behind some ghostwriter, and not for like the reason that she mentions, like if you want to someone to help you write your memoirs or something. Yeah, no, just no.
yeah, and it's an abuse of technology too. It's a
Oh yeah,
crutch.
most definitely.
It's a crutch, and it's going to stifle the growth of any artist because we when we say AI art, people think that it's just illustration, but no, writing's an art as well. And I do use AI to do like a first touch up draft of my works as soon as I'm done writing. Then I send them off to my human editor, which is actually in the chat, Gino. What's up, Gino? And then I am the final eyes that applies all the changes that were suggested to
We
me. So there's a lot of human hands in creating a single piece of literature, even if it's just a short story. And I do believe it's okay to use forms of AI to help polish up your works, but to just take it and make it the sole essence of a work, I think that's abuse of the technology, and you're never really going to be able to see something that's worth reading because at the end of the day, it's a machine. And we shouldn't embrace the machine in this way because it really is just producing the soulless.
the actual
Yeah, it
machine.
really is. Yeah, it's really a machine. Go ahead, Snow. You're gonna say
It's
something.
it's, it's an abuse of the machine. When you're doing the first of all, there's two ways that it becomes abuse. Our works are being fed into it so it can write like us. It can actually co-opt entire phrases, as we've talked about before on work talking with about AI. A lot of people don't realize that AI has replicated sometimes word for word or image for image what artists or writers are creating. As a result, that artist or that writer can later be accused of having used AI when in fact the AI was trained off of that artist or that writer and is actually directly quoting, maybe paraphrasing a little bit. You are denying that writer their own works, giving it to a machine, and then stripping away their own credibility, giving their intellectual property and their work to another artist or another writer who is not worthy of it. They aren't using it. They're not working with it. They're not using it as inspiration. They're literally stealing it and then calling it their own. Secondly, we have seen where artists had literally wholesale, and I said my daughter is an example. Her face showing up whole on the panel as her own image from her own work, just slightly changed, and another artist selling it as his own work, a sad girl. She actually confronted him and he said yes, he had used AI and instead took it off and put some filters on it, but it is clearly her. In fact, facial recognition technology recognized it as her from her photograph, and she has the original photograph. This is the danger. When you do this, you're not only using someone else's work, and you are not only cheating yourself of your own creative skill and your own creative growth, but when you use AI to take these things, you are taking away the other person's credibility. That AI is using their work and then claiming it. Now they have to go back and prove that it was theirs originally, that they created it first. And it can be difficult if they're in the process of creating and somehow AI has picked it up. You could actually see copyright stripped away from people because another writer, in quotes, who is using AI has found their work, or it's been absorbed into the AI because of a program they used, and now it's been distributed. So we need to be aware that there are ethical situations with this that deal with real people, not just cheating yourself of the chance for greatness and being a person who creates, but you're also stripping away someone else's ideas because the AI is a gatherer of ideas.
Yes, indeed.
There's a lot of and it's interesting that it's coming from the industry of all places, which I'm not too surprised, because the industry has been the one to kind of hold art hostage. You have multiple industries. You have Hollywood, you have the book industry, and they kind of hold art hostage for the sake of keeping it scarce. So their preferred authors, their preferred writings, their preferred movies can get a chance to go out there and make money in a less than bloated economy. But in the midst of this, they have embraced a machine wholeheartedly and ripped out people from it to the point where what we're getting is so low quality, it's harming the art form as a whole. It's like the chances of people picking up a book, I think, goes down over time the more they practice this stuff. Particularly new people who want to get into reading, who won't immediately head towards like the indie publications and things like that. Trad Pub, it's like
Yes.
the Hollywood. That's where they're gonna go first,
Dude,
and then they're
I've
gonna think that
talked to
this
them.
is they're gonna think this is culture.
Yes,
This is
they think
popular.
that, yeah, I've talked to like a couple of young adults, like 18, 19-year olds, 20-year-olds, and they have developed these view that like the entire new book scene is absolute schlock, because they've been overwhelmed with exactly what we've been talking about for the past hour.
Yeah, it's a
Exactly.
degradation of culture, and when it's pushed as the mainstream, it has the potential to harm culture and harm the arts because it chases away potential readers.
Oh,
And there's
it's
a lot of
full of it. It's like
yeah,
they're not even they don't even care. They're just like dumping buckets of schlock. It's like, yeah, munch people that give
yeah,
us money.
because it's all about let's be honest, they're just trying to increase their revenue. And if they can just forget about the pesky author, and you can just have your editor or your producer sit down and just say, "Oh, I think this will make a good story," and hit enter, and get like a 70,000 word story crapped out by an AI, and then do the bare minimum amount of anything and just publish it. Like, they're trying to achieve what I call the Spielberg dream. Because was it Spielberg? Yeah. I believe it was Spielberg who said that he hated working with actors, and he can't wait for technology to improve
No,
so he can kind of replace them. And I feel like
I remember that one.
this is
Yeah.
the same thing, and I guarantee you that guy has got his own AI model with like all these fake actors he's trying to make movies out of in his basement right now. His huge $1 million basement. But we're seeing
He's
the
rich,
same thing.
a rich person basement.
Exactly. We're seeing the same thing in literature here. And it sucks, just like it does everywhere else. But, I think the only, from what I'm seeing from all these indie authors that have stuck with it, I've seen pretty much all of them that's been in my sphere and that I've been actually able to read some of. I've seen improvements made across the board. I think the only last like hump will be or obstacle would be marketing, because that's the thing that's expensive,
Yes.
and I'm sure there's cheaper ways, but there's like it could be scummy at times with Google's
Yeah.
marketing as well.
There are a lot of mainstream gatekeeping in the marketing. Like I would argue that like most of it's there. Most of their gatekeeping is in marketing.
I definitely heard of it, like more in the movie sphere, where the people who like own these trailer houses put together the trailers for movies. They'll say like, "Oh, we can't market your movie because it's not X, Y, and Z." When he thinks like you're the marketer, you're just the job should be take the product, regardless of the product, and then show us your skills and why we should come back for you when next time we need marketing for a product. And it's in books. I'm sure it's in music,
in games too. Yeah,
in games. It's everywhere, and it's
everywhere.
part of the clown world. It's part of the clown world,
Yeah, but it's dying.
insanity.
It's dying. It's dying because it's the people have had enough. Like the normies have had enough. As one of my fellow indies so colorfully said, that the normies have had enough. Like they're no longer entertained, so they're not going to give their like normie bucks for schlock anymore. No matter how many journals are telling them, yes, this is schlock, but let us tell you how this is a good thing.
Right?
How consuming schlock is a good thing.
It's
Remember,
important.
these like, yeah, it's like it's your duty to do it. Or if you don't consume it, if you don't consume it, then you're X, Y, and Z. Then you're like.
It reminds me of what was it? The Miss Captain Marvel movie. How they were like having charities to go like buy tickets for little girls to see this movie because it's so important, and all the charity money went directly to Disney. Like it was so empowering that you had to go pay for it, and it was so important that they couldn't let you watch it for free.
Yes, and
it's ridiculous.
The theaters, the movie theaters were empty. Yeah, exactly. I think here they didn't even show it. I may be mistaken, but there was like 2 or 3 movie theaters who showed it. They showed it not for a full week. They showed it like for 3 days or 4 days, and they stopped because no one was watching it. Like they, I guess like maybe a few hundred people, but that's nothing. That's a complete and utter loss. It's like insane.
We have Frederick here. Star Wars paid actors to fill theaters. They all look really pretty and had interest in Star Wars. Okay.
Oh yeah, and they paid influencers, by the way, just like they did.
They always paid influencers.
Oh yeah, but remember, that's exactly what we're talking about. Remember the what was the Amazon's fake Lord of the Rings?
The circle thing, right? They have watched.
They paid the most delusional, the most delusional influencers. They flew them over like to a freaking castle. They gave them a shit ton of goodies, and it failed.
That's the word influencer is so interesting because it's more like they're the influence.
It's lame. It's
lame. It's like they're kind of just biological breathing billboards, you know?
Yes,
Like they say whatever for whoever as long as you pay.
And by the
It's
way,
so interesting.
s-
Also, like
most
actually, go ahead.
most of these young people I talked to, they said that like having an influencer tell them that it's like, yeah, you have to buy this game, you have to play this game, or you have to go see this movie or read this book. Like they see it now. It's like the young people, they see this as a red flag.
Right? I mean, of
Yeah,
course
and
it
it's
is.
like, yes, it's like, ooh. So like some corporal uh, idiot that's like, they are hiring these like fake personalities like to tell me, to grift me, to give my money to them and like buy a super boring game, or like some see go see a shitty movie, and they're like, no, we're not having it.
Very much so, man. I hope that the whole influencer thing dies down because I never really seen them as something that's actually had a positive effect on society. And it's like people who belong in these small little bubble communities where they're the most popular person,
Well, they're
and then
the faces of
they're plucked out of their bubble community and kind of just
they're the faces of
paraded
Clone
around.
World. They're the faces of Clone World, and when Clone World goes away, they'll go away too. They'll be forgotten, and that's the most terrible thing for sociopaths like them, to be forgotten.
Very much so. It's the crazy psychopathy behind these individuals. But with that said, I actually do have a movie recommendation for us. It kind of
Ooh,
just hit me. We were talking about how there's a lot of schlockiness out there, and everything we get from movies, the books, and the industries behind them, the internal conversation of the schlock. Let me go ahead and shift my camera over here for a second to the floor cam.
hmm.
Yes, this is a movie I actually hunted down after watching a review of it
Oh,
called Control. It is a let me see, turn this light down for a second.
is this a metro car?
Yeah,
I think I see a metro car.
yes, this let me turn off that light to see it way better. Control is actually a Hungarian film that takes place in Budapest in their
Ooh,
metro, uh, not too long after the fall of the Soviet Union. And it's a dark
oh,
psychological comedy about this gentleman who sort of refuses to leave the metro, and he sleeps in the metro, and he works in the metro as a ticket checker. It's got a very simple premise to it. It follows a interesting human being. It's not a perfect movie, but I heavily enjoy this one. Now,
but
this
it's
one,
an interesting movie. It's
it's
a
funny,
thought-provoking movie.
it's thought provoking, it's funny,
That's
it's
what you
kind of
need.
original. Like movies these days, they make everything like about the largest things in the world, and this is a very simple movie about a person and also a killer in the metro as well. That's kind of
Oh,
kicking people off or pushing people off of the metro into the rails. Check it out. You'd probably have to order this one because it's not in English. I only found it with hard coded subs. But I've really enjoyed this film a lot. Try to move this so there's no glare on it.
I think there was like a really nice
Mm-hmm.
Japanese indie movie. Give me a second. I think it was about a like
Love this film.
older gentleman who was going. He was working cleaning like the
Mm-hmm.
public lavatories, and he's it's like on the surface it it would appear boring, but everything is so beautifully shot,
Yeah.
and the like the all the little things, the small interactions with like between like there are I think only a couple of characters,
Yeah.
but everything is masterfully done. It's like
Yeah.
the small details are perfect. Give me a second. I forgot the name,
Yeah.
but
I mean, look it up, find the name, because that's one thing I also liked about this one, Control, which Sammy said that he's checked it out, so he's seen it. It's a great movie. It's worth checking out. I think you can get like a copy on eBay for $10. Um,
oh yeah, I
and
think you can find it. You can find it.
yeah,
It's not expensive. It's like a few bucks.
yeah, the same here. Like these movies, they're a little on the older
And
side. And the
it's
good thing about
beautiful. It's beautiful.
I'll have to check it
It's
out,
so
find the
good.
name, because I like movies
Um,
that have wondrous cinematography, and this one also has really great cinematography as well. So Control 2003, check it out, people. It's really good. And did you find the name over there, Black Knight?
no, not
Not yet.
yet.
Okay, let us know when you do that,
I
because
think
it's
I
movie
had.
recommendation time.
No, 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 no. It's not that. It's not that. It was something like. Was it? Was it like beautiful something? I forgot. No,
Find the
no, no,
name,
no, no,
because I
no, no,
do
no, no, no,
enjoy
no.
those simple ones. You know, there's just the character explorations, with small stories. We don't get a lot of those anymore. A lot of the stories now have got to be
Perfect
like
Days. Perfect Days.
perfect
It's
day.
it's a brand new movie. It's a movie from
Okay,
2023. Yeah.
all right, not too old. Nice, perfect
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah. It has like a great rating, but like I don't care about the ratings. But at least
Yeah,
like when it's a good, you know that it's a good movie, um, and also there is no like too much dialogue. It's like a quiet movie, very quiet, relaxing. Well, it's an art piece. It's more of an art piece than a movie. You'll see. It's like I watched it. I think 3 times, 3 or 4 times when I could watch it.
that's when you know
There
you
was
found a good movie. You know, when
there
you're like,
was
wow,
like
I got to watch that again.
there was here in my city there was like indie movie or like art movie week or something, and they showed this movie. I watched it there. It was like the tickets were cheap, really cheap, and then I found it online and I got it, and then I watched it a couple more times.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice. You
it's
saw it in
nice.
theater. Yeah,
It's
I
so
seen
nice.
I hunted down a pirated copy of this movie online because I obviously, I can't find this in theaters. It's been out of
Yeah, it's
you're not
out of
gonna find it in
circulations.
the
Yeah.
stores. So I looked for it online because I watched a review of it. These two guys that just there's two blokes from the EU, working class guys that just review movies. I think the YouTube channel is called Off the Shelf Review, and they made a review of this one, and I thought that just seems like such an interesting and hilarious film that I had to hunt it down and watch it. So I watched it online, and it was so good. I watched it again, and like, all right, I just need to buy it. And like a week
Mhm.
later, it arrived in mail, and I just watched it on my freaking
Ooh.
screen. On not my computer
This
screen, but the living room.
this one won a lot of awards, by the way.
Nice.
This movie, yeah.
And maybe that's how the influence, I think, is going to shift
Oh,
mainstream
definitely.
publications, because it's not just going to be the awards, but I think it's going to be the foreign films that do it, because there's even in literature, there's this highbrow essence that if it's not written by an American, you're getting this foreign aspect that's somehow better and stuff. And I think that might be the thing that finally breaches the mainstream and soften them up and just find a trajectory in is going to come from the foreigners, because the people in charge, they've already written off Americans and particular ideas produced by Americans. I think they'll just be generally susceptible to foreigners because they have like this reverse xenophobic mind that somehow if it's foreign, it's got to be better.
Mhm.
But with
Yeah.
that said, we're down to the last 10 minutes. If you want to give some thoughts on some stuff and let us know where we can find you.
Well, how should I put it? It's everything as my grandmother and my grandmother and my grandfather said. Everything has an end. Both bad things and good things, they have an end. So it's inevitable. Um, Even the things which are not alive, even they have a death. Um, the rocks, after they have been beaten by the sea for hundreds, thousands of years, even they turn into sand. Um, so, yes, it's exactly what I am implying, that perseverance wins in the end. And it wins faster and achieves a greater win when you are fighting against boring, soulless corporate schlock. Um, that's uh, that's where something from the Sun Tzu and the Art of War comes to mind, which is when your enemy makes a mistake, do not interrupt them. Let them keep making mistakes. That's good.
Definitely. And it's a terrible thing to have to call the public, any form of publication of art, an enemy in a sense. But when
Yeah, but
they
the,
but when they refuse to let art be anything more than a caged bird for them to poke at, you know, we got to free art from their terrible grasps. And that's how you save tomorrow, man. You save the art, you save the culture, bro. At least that's what I believe in. I think if we save the art, we'll save the culture, and that we shouldn't be completely prejudiced towards new things like AI, but to realize that they can be a tool to help improve the art, and be weary of those who try to use new ideas and new things as a way to supplement and replace the art, because they're never in it for the art when they do that.
oh yeah,
Um,
they're in for the short grift,
yes, they're in for the
making the quick
grift.
buck.
It's
Yeah,
like somebody once said, nobody, none of these political groups want equality; they want power. Um, and that's the same through these individuals. They want power through art, and we're slowly seeing art push back, along with us over here, the faceless Black Knight and the Sand Mitch. But thank you all for joining us today. We're gonna close out a couple minutes early. I hope that this has been an interesting conversation. My throat's a little dry. I need some water. It's super hot
yeah.
over here. I'm in front of a fan and still sweating a little bit. Um,
Oh
but
boy.
if you're watching this on a replay, please give it a like, share with your friends, leave a comment down below of anything you'd like us to talk about in the future. We love you guys. Thank you for joining us. We're gonna head out now. Enjoy the rest of your day and check out Frederick Gilmont's stream in I
Oh,
believe just a little over a half hour. Just Proof of
oh yeah.
Comics. So check out Proof of Comics,
Nice.
people. We love you. Have a good one, and hopefully it's cooler where you are. Bye bye now. Ciao.